Okay, so one thing that I recommend doing for your historic vessel project is to create a template for yourself before you start your project, especially if you feel a little bit unnerved by the project. It might feel kind of daunting. So, what a template is essentially for in ceramics and a paper template is a small kind of paper experiment that you can do really quickly to see how exactly you should go about building your project. So one thing that I recommend doing first step is although I might have printed out my historic vessel, which was from the PowerPoint, this falcon horse Egyptian vessel, um, I I recommend you sketching it out in your sketchbook or a piece of paper really quick, and then just directly using a ruler or some sort of measuring device. I mean, you can like use a matchstick or something to measure directly off of your laptop interface, your computer interface, and you can sort of get the dimensions that way. Of course, if you find a historic vessel online that already has the dimensions, that can make it easier to work with. So this needs to be 12 inches, at least 12 inches high or 12 inches wide, depending on the general shape of your vessel. Because this Falcon Horse vessel is longer, wider than it is high, my vessel is going to be 12 inches long. So I already measured a little bit and started to get a feeling about how long these wings should be, because this is going to be the walls of my vessel will be these wings. And then this could be easily sculpted and made. And I can attach this, the body, the head of the falcon and the tail of the falcon, I can attach to these wings, which I can make out of slabs. But just a template to begin with is just me constructing it on a piece of paper to see how I should go about building it and about what size it's going to look like. So if you don't have a big piece of paper, like I have the sheet of newsprint laying around, you can always find a brown paper bag from the grocery store and cut it open and lay it flat, and that'll give you a lot of paper to work with. And so you can just start by sort of drawing it out. So I made, this has to be 12 inches long, this wingspan from here to here. So I just had a pencil and I sort of sketched out the wing, and I also sketched out a little bit of what the head should look like. And the tail. And this is the wing that goes in the back that will touch. Although I don't know what's going on. I only have a one perspective of my historic vessel, so I'm just gonna have to be critical when I make this and try to make this look good from all the different angles, even though I don't know what it looks like from the front. But that's okay because I can just guess, and I understand that some of you will have to do that too, like just make up what you might not know what the back of your historic vessel looks like, but that's okay. Just make it up and um, use your best artistic abilities to make it look good. Okay, so then really this would be as easy as just, I think for this template, what really matters for me is making sure that I start with the big wing, and I can cut this out, and I can lay this down onto a slab, and I can cut that out of the slab, which I'm going to do now, and I'll be right back to show you more. Okay, so I cut out my falcon wing and I rolled out 3 slabs of clay because I know I need one slab for one wing, another slab for another wing, and another slab for the bottom. So I'm just going to set this on top of here, and I'm going to trace this wing onto the slab. I like to start by grabbing any sort of needle tool. You can even use a ballpoint pen. You can even use a wooden pencil, and to just trace over my template that I made. So then I can take a butter knife or a ceramic tool knife, and I can cut out that shape. I like to keep my clay condensed into a ball nearby because it's still workable, and I can compress all my excess clay and then just wet it and stick it back into the bag to use for later. Okay, so there is one wing. Now, I'm going to use this wing that I just made out of my slab to create my second wing, and I'm going to trace this now. First, I'll start with my needle tool, my pokey tool. Looks good, so I'll cut this out. So I have two of these slabs. They're pretty wet right now, meaning they're gonna just kind of fall over and gravity will have their way with them at this point. But I'm gonna still see if I can't use some of my excess clay that I have over here to still sort of prop up my wings and start to sort of see what this historic vessel of this Egyptian falcon named Horus will look like. So I have this slab out already that I'm going to use as my base. I'm just gonna, this is like the head of the falcon. So like this head right here is definitely a way to prop this up. Although I haven't sculpted that head yet, I can still kind of imagine what that is gonna look like by just using that ball of clay to prop that up there. But I do think that really that's going to make my life a lot harder. So it's better if I actually just leave these out to dry for 10 minutes, come back, and then start constructing my slabs. These are just way too wet to work with for now. Like I said, gravity is going to flop, make it flop over and fall onto itself. So you're going to have to let it set up a little bit, get a little bit drier, and just come back in 10 minutes to check to see if that stiffens, and then end up constructing the form from there. So I hope that gives you some insight on how to go about creating your historic vessel project.